Welcome back to part 3 of the editing portion of this workshop. So we were basically just kind of getting not too far into this set. We're only this far, as you can see on the slider. And this is where we left off last time. So this photo is one that I had already edited because it was one that I showed to the couple a couple days after their wedding. So I'm going to kind of go through, reset it, and kind of show you what I did. There were some blemishes here and there, small blemishes, nothing crazy that I removed with the spot removal. But yeah, if we reset it, we can see that's the raw. Pretty big difference. When I shot it in camera, the picture profile made it look a lot better. So I knew I could get what I was going to be able to get, especially because it's raw. And this is what I put it as. And again, once you see the raw file and then you go back to what's edited, it always kind of jumps out at you and your eyes have to adjust and you think at first, wow, it looks too warm or it looks too orange or whatever. But if you just see the edited version, which the couple only sees, it looks different. It makes you think like, okay, this is a super warm, awesome summary photo, but take it with a grain of salt. So we're going to reset this. So I started with the preset. And I know that's probably not very helpful because you guys don't have the preset I have. I will be offering it at the end of this workshop, so stay tuned. But it's basically a film-y look. You can see I just applied it there. It's a little bit more of a flat image. This is it reset after the preset. So it adds a profile correction for the lens I'm using, which is probably the 50 millimeter. And you can see that right here. So from here, basically probably what I did is I bumped up my exposure to where I liked it, probably right there. And then I warmed it up a lot, somewhere around there. I'm going to come down here to the hue of orange and make it a little bit more red. Add a little bit more red into their skin tone, something like that. And then I'm going to still push up the exposure, maybe one click. And then real quick work on some tiny blemishes. Oh, whoops, I didn't have that on heal. And so they look not natural. There we go. Better. If you take your time, you can definitely make it look a little bit better. So this is pretty much what I had. You can see that didn't take too long. Of course, I'm explaining as I go, but if I was to, I have a lot of shots that look very similar to this. So once I get this setting, I can just copy and paste it to all the other ones. Of course, not copying the spot removal tool. And so that's what we're going to try to do and see if it works. So we'll copy it. Make sure local brush adjustment, spot removal, crop, and transform is unclicked. And we'll go back to the left because I had one photo that was very similar right here. And we'll just copy it. And that doesn't look too bad. So we'll go to the next one. Yeah, you can see they look pretty identical. So I'll just straighten this one out a little bit. Move on to that one that we just finished. What we'll do is we'll go to this one that we finished and then select that mini, which is about 10 photos. Click sync. And then kind of scroll through and make minor adjustments to exposure. I'm on the fritz with this photo. I'm not sure if I like it or not. But I think I'm going to keep it. Exposure down just a touch. Copy the settings from the last photo. Copy the settings. Copy the settings. If you don't know how to paste settings from the previous photo, on a Mac it's Option Command V. On a PC, I'm so sorry, I'm not too sure. I'm sure you could go up here somewhere and find it. I think for Mac, it's probably paste settings from previous photo. So you can go up to your settings in a PC. I'm sure it's right there. Paste my settings from the last photo. And now we're back to this one. Okay, so let's move on. I'm going to still try pasting the settings and see if it works for this scene. It's a little bright. Bring down the exposure. And I'm going to try to warm it up still. Still going for a really warm, summery look on this. Skin tone is a little green on him. Could be, again, sun's hitting the grass, reflecting it right back up in his face. But her skin is almost perfect, so I don't... Let's see here. Let me try pushing the exposure and bringing the highlights down. And then if we mess with skin tone, it's going to mess with hers too. So let's grab a brush and just see what we can do. If we go on his face and just add a touch of magenta. Copy those, move on, paste. Exposure down. And I'm going to just do this batch again. So I'm going to select all these right here. Sync them. Exposure down. Straighten this one out. That's okay. Actually, no, let's straighten it just a touch. Straighten that. Copy the settings from before. Because we have such a similar photo as the last one, I'm just going to black and white this so they have another option. Straighten out. Still going to straighten that out. Great shot. Love this one. I'm going to keep that as it is. I like it. That's good. Straighten it out just a click. This is my wife's shot right here. Anything from a side angle usually is her shot. Again, it's just my wife and I shooting. This is a beautiful detail. I love this. Throughout the day, I shoot a lot of details, and I don't have to pick them all, but I pick my favorite ones, and this is one of my favorites. It's great. It's beautiful background. You see his shoes. Of course, the bouquet, which is a extremely incredible one, and yeah, it's a nice photo. Back to that. Okay, so this is one photo we didn't edit. So we'll go back here, copy these settings, paste them onto this, straighten it out, touch up on the exposure, move on. And now we're on to a little bit different scene for light. But let's try copying or pasting the settings from the photos before and just see where it gets us. And of course that's too warm, so we'll kick this down. Go down here to the hue of orange, and I'm going to go more to, actually, let's leave it there and maybe just bring it the saturation of orange down just a touch. And we'll bring the temperature down still a little bit. I'm okay with this shot being a little bit on the cooler end, but still skin tone a little bit warm. I'm going to grab saturation of orange and kick it up one notch. Maybe not. Let's go to 15. Let's try that, copy it. Of course, we can make minor adjustments, but let's copy it and move on. Paste it. Straighten it. Exposure. I'm still thinking the skin tone's looking a little bland, so let's try kicking this orange up. and then adjusting the hue of it. Make their skin tone a little bit more red. That looks a little more natural to me. So copy that. Paste. Okay, I'm digging what this is looking like. I'll just copy it to these photos. We'll move on. Beautiful scene. I really liked it was a hot day. It was probably in the 90s or maybe like 85 or something. I can't remember. So finding shades always great, of course, for lighting purposes and because it's hot, and if the bride's in high heels and they're wearing a huge dress, guys in a suit. So you got to be pretty aware of that. I really like this scene. This is, to the left of it is the building for a reception, and this is just an entrance. But I really liked all the different types of trees, the grass coming out, the little white picket fence, and the angle that we're shooting this at. And I'm kind of shooting through a bush, it almost looks like. But the light on them is great. It's coming from behind them, so it's kind of backlighting them. It's very soft light on them, and it's beautiful, beautiful light. We can push the exposure on this too, because there's not going to be much blown out other than dress, which we can adjust with highlights. So let's just try going a little bit crazy on the bright side of this. And then maybe getting rid of some of those shadows. Like that. Let's move on. Similar shot as the last, so let's black and white it. Get rid of some of the blacks. Straighten it up. Move on. Paste my settings. I'm going to try warming it up just a kiss. Magenta? No. We'll leave it at that. Paste the settings. It's a cool shot. I like it. Touch down and exposure. This shot I have already edited. I believe it was one of the ones I gave them a couple days after their wedding as well. It's either that one or one of the ones coming up. Just pasting my settings from the shots before. A little scrunchy on the kiss. I'm going to undo that. Paste again. I'm going to go black and white on this with a little bit of grain. You know, their noses are really, I don't know, it's a funny kiss, so I'm going to delete it. Also kind of a funny kiss, but they might like it, so I'm going to keep it. Pasted my settings from the shots before. Moving on. Paste my settings. Good moment here. I'm losing some color in her lips, it looks like, so I'm going to bring the saturation of red back in. And then maybe try to mess with the hue of orange. No. I could just grab a brush on her face and then just warm it up just a touch. But that might make it too orange. Don't forget to take a break every 20 minutes with your eyes. My eyes are playing games with me and getting a little blurry. So take a break and look at something really far away for like 20 seconds. And that's a great way to reset your eyes. And I forget to do it very often. I'm going to push the exposure on this, though. Let's try that. Paste my settings. Exposure up. Paste my settings. Highlights down just a touch. Shadows down a little bit. Try warming it up a little. Exposure up. Hue of orange. If I go more red. And then we can mess with the saturation of orange and just see what it does. I'm digging that. That looks the most natural. So we got a lot of photos coming up here. So I'm going to batch them, select those, sync, copy the settings. I'm going to delete this shot, a little funky. Straighten it out. Exposure down. A little orange for me. Let's bring down the temperature. Move on. Paste the settings. Paste the settings. I can't tell if it's my eyes messing with me, but it looks a little sharpened, but I don't have sharpening on. It could be grain that is adding that effect. Looks like it is. I'm going to take grain away. Yeah, I kind of like that better. So I'm going to copy those settings, go back a couple shots, paste them. We'll move on. This is my wife's shot. Bring the exposure down. Highlights just so that light on her arm. Let's black and white it. When in doubt, black and white. That's what I say. Paste. Beautiful shot. I like that a lot. Paste the settings. And we're back to the beginning. So I just pasted the settings just to get rid of that grain. This is probably where I'm going to stop for now for this video. I'm trying to make them a little bit shorter. I'm sorry, these are like 30 minutes long, but you get the point. I mean, editing a whole set, it does not take, or it's going to take a long time, of course. So this is the reality of it. Of course, I'm walking you guys through it, so it's taking me a little bit longer. But you know, you get a good idea. Like if you have a big batch of photos that are very similar, or at least, you know, like 10, 20 or so in a row, you can always edit the first one, select them all, and then sync them. And that just, you know, it gets you closer to the image. It basically helps with consistency. And then really what you're fumbling with is just adjusting your crop, you're straightening it, you're adjusting exposure, and so forth. So hopefully you can pick up something from these tutorials. And again, guys, if you appreciate them, I really would love it if you hit the old thumbs up button below. Leave a comment. Tell me what you think about this series so far. Subscribe if you have not. And check out my website. Until next time, see you on part 4.